Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about one of the best books you can find with grief horror. But it's so much more than that. This one is exciting and fantastic. I can't wait to tell you about it. But first, as always, I want to remind you that I have books for sale. And if you want to purchase any of the books you see on your screen, there is a link in the description below. Alright, let's get started. The book we're going to talk about today is grief horror at its finest. And I think the reason grief horror is so prominent today is because it's something everybody has experienced. We've all been touched by grief at one point or another in our lives, some of us more than others. And it's a subject that, if done right, it can really bring up them old feelings and really engage you in the story that's about to take place in a book. And this is one of the finest examples of grief horror I've ever found, and I think you'll agree with that. This is a book called The Devil's Pocketbook by Jeffery. And this is about a mother and father who have been trying to have children. And they've had a couple miscarriages, but finally they get pregnant and the baby is stillborn. And it devastates them. Looking at this lifeless body of their daughter, knowing that it's never going to breathe, it's never going to have the opportunity to live or for them to experience the joys of parenthood. And this has affected them deeply. And so they go to a small town trying to reconnect with each other. And I don't want to give any spoilers away, but let's just say they discover a girl, a teenage girl, and part of that discovery is really creepy and kind of horrifying in itself. I'll let you read that. But they, because of their grief, their decision-making process is kind of askew. They decide, instead of going to the authorities, to just kind of keep the girl. And this girl can fulfill that role that their daughter didn't have the chance to. But what follows after that is just a wild, extremely terrifying story about a mythological creature, a creature of legend that I'm sure you've heard of. I'm not going to tell you what. And this author puts his own unique, horrific spin on it. It turns it from something that is kind of innocent, kind of, steeped in this certain kind of history. And he turns it into something absolutely horrifying. And some of these images you will not be able to get out of your head. But what makes this book so effective is that every decision that this couple makes is coming from that base of grief. And he really is good at letting you know about this process and how it can affect people. And like I said, we've all been affected by grief. We've all experienced it. But some people, of course, they have a harder time getting out of it than others. So the decisions they make, while they might not be rational at first, they do represent some of the thinking that can go askew when you're so emotionally involved in what's happening in your life, what's happened in their past, and now having the opportunity maybe to make it right with the most extreme, deadly consequences. And don't get me wrong, this book will make you sad. You feel for this couple, as this author is great at writing those scenes and how they're feeling about things and what they've experienced and the things they've gone through. You will feel this sadness and this depression. However, that does not take away from any of the horror that is about to come, because things start going wonky, things start going sideways, and pretty soon they are caught up in something that, because of their grief, that they are trapped in, they cannot get out of, and it's going to have dire consequences for them and other people in this small town. This is a great book about small town horror. You got the creature feature, kinda. You got the grief horror. You got all these things rolled up into one, and it's a beautifully written book. And like I said, you'll have all the feelings for this couple. You'll be instantly engaged with them. You'll know what he's talking about as he describes what they're going through, because it has to be the most horrible thing to lose a child like that, especially after trying for so long. But this book is really effective. It is just fantastic. You will not regret reading it, and it's got everything you want in a horror book. And I can highly, highly recommend it. And pick up your copy of The Devil's Notebook. There is a link in the description. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. I really appreciate you guys watching. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.